All right, let's talk more about all this. Welcome in New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Good afternoon, Congresswoman.
Good afternoon. Great to see you again.
All right, so let's start with the debt ceiling deal. And, you know, a lot of people say this is the best that Speaker McCarthy could have got, considering the Republicans control one-third of the federal government. But, you know, we also reported earlier that we hear about the federal government. This is coming from Senator Joni Ernst's office, still sending $1.3 billion to China and to Russia for things like gender equality studies and cat experiments and the Wuhan Lab Institute for research. And I think that's why it's, hard for a lot of Americans to swallow this pill.
Look, I agree with her 100%. I didn't vote for any of these provisions that the Biden administration voted for and put into play, the money they're wasting, the money they're spending. But let me make this absolutely clear to all the conservatives who are concerned about it. I'm a conservative. The top conservatives in the House voted for this bill. And I'll tell you why. This is not a spending bill. This was a deal that was made to curb future spending and policy. This is the scrimmage, as Tom Massey described it. The Super Bowl is appropriations. That's where we actually can do something. We can't sit there and say, we're just going to let default on our debt, undermine the U.S. Full faith and credit, undermine the dollar as the gold standard or the standard of currency in the world. We can't allow our Medicare, our seniors, our veterans, everybody who's dependent on these systems just to implode because we're going to make a point. Yes, we passed Limit, Save, Grow, an excellent bill. But we passed it with Republicans. Not a single Democrat supported us. So we have to find a way to get the Democrats to concede something. And I argue this. Because of the nature of the Democrat versus Republican majorities and the White House controlled by the Democrats and Joe Biden controlled by the left wing of the Democratic Party, we are in a situation where we basically have a pair of twos. They have a royal flush, and we were able to bluff them into what I think is a really good plan, which has been described by my colleague, Warren Davidson, no rhino, by the way, who said this is the most conservative bill he has ever voted for in Congress. We came in together as freshmen in 2017. That means more conservative than anything President Trump put together. And, oh, by the way, all the conservatives who are complaining about the $4 trillion we're spending, we haven't spent that. We have to stop that from being spent when we do appropriations, which means the Republicans need to stick together when we are due on appropriation spending in September. So a lot of good things happened here. The Penny plan, the so-called 1% cap or 1% decrease in spending, that was a Tom Massey plan. That's in place. Now, I heard some conservatives say, well, none of this is permanent. Nothing is permanent in Washington. We overturn the House every 2 years, so a new majority could wipe out everything we've done. But what's important now, we're in a slim majority. We're going to go to 4 very soon with, unfortunately, Chris Stewart, our colleague from Utah, is going to be resigning. Now we're going to have to hold together and hold together on appropriations. These are going to be really hard votes, very hard votes for our moderates and others. But this is where the rubber meets the road, is on appropriations. This bill is not a spending bill. This is a negotiation for future cuts, and that's all it really is.
All right. Well, you know, Congresswoman, a lot of people see the trajectory of spending in Washington. They wonder when it's going to stop, and we'll see what happens as a result of all this. Great to see you, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney.
Thank you. We agree 100%. It's a disaster. It's hurting the American people.
Yeah.
But the White House and Chuck Schumer need to feel that loud and clear.
That's why elections are so important. Great to see you, Congresswoman. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you.